Today we're taking a look at three mid to high-end CPU air coolers. DeepCool's AK700 Digital White, CPS PCCooler's RZ700D and the Sudokoo SK620V. All three target performance-focused systems, but take slightly different approaches in design and features. We'll be testing thermals, noise, build quality and installation using the same setup throughout to see how they really stack up and where each one makes the most sense. But before we do that, if you're not subscribed to Kit Guru on YouTube yet, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button.
Meet the new MSI GeForce RTX 5090 Lightning Z.
So three CPU air coolers to review today. First up is the DeepCool AK700 Digital in white. This is due to be launched in the UK in late February. It should be available from Scan, priced at £54.99. It uses DeepCool's AI algorithm to automatically adjust the fan speed curve based on real-time CPU load for balanced cooling and quiet operation. It features a high-end display that shows CPU temperature, usage, wattage and frequency in real time, controlled by DeepCool Deep Creative software. It's equipped with 7 copper heat pipes and a dense single tower heatsink for enhanced heat transfer and cooling performance. So let's have a closer look at this cooler. It is quite a compact single tower cooler, but it sports a 120mm DeepCool fan on the front. It's a funny one, this, because it's got some quite unique and quite advanced features, such as the screen on the top, but then it also uses some basic features like the clips that hold the fan to the side, just the standard wire type clips. They're all right to remove, but they are a bit fiddly in some circumstances, especially if you're like me and you don't have any nails on your fingers, or any long nails at least, so they are a little awkward to clip off. I don't really like these wire spring clips. They are a really old style design and there's a lot better designs and options out there, but this is, I'd say, only a mid-range CPU cooler, so it's not going to have all the top features. As you can see, it comes equipped just with a single 120mm fan, which has a PWM speed range of up to 2700 RPM, a 0 RPM mode, so it can completely stop spinning if the CPU temperature is right. It is a standard 4-pin PWM connection, so it'll connect directly to a 4-pin PWM motherboard header. On each corner of the fan there's anti-vibration rubber mounts. Has a maximum airflow of 77.23 cubic feet per minute, maximum air pressure of 5.13 millimeters H2O, and it's equipped with a hydro bearing, so I'd say that's a fluid dynamic bearing in the fan. In terms of the heatsink, it's reasonably compact. Dimensions are 124mm long by 76mm wide by 151mm tall. You can see it's a dense fin stack and a very clean and even white coating on there. It is also available in black, this cooler too. In terms of the base plate and heat pipe, so it's got a total of 7 heat pipes mounted on a copper base. It's a nickel plated copper base, comes with this label just for protection. There's no pre-applied thermal compound, but there is some thermal compound included in the accessories packed with that, and you can see connected to the base are a couple of mounts there. It also comes with mounting hardware for all the current Intel and AMD desktop platforms. This wood effect top to it, it's actually, I believe, made from plastic, but it is a wood effect finish to it and a DeepCool logo there. There is actually an LCD display underneath this that illuminates through this wood effect top. It's not the greatest LCD display. It doesn't come with loads of customization, things like that. It just literally shows you the CPU temperature and wattage and very basic stuff, really. Controlled using DeepCool software, Deep Creative. The top panel is removable, so that LCD panel, you do have to remove that for installation to get your screwdriver down into the holes to install the screws. One thing you do have to be careful of with this is you must also remove the fan before you want to take this top off, because the fan does get in the way a bit of the wiring, and it can not damage, but it can pinch the wiring a little when you're trying to remove that, if you try and remove it with the fan on. So just be careful of that. In terms of the LCD display, as I say, it's very basic. It is also a little difficult to see at certain angles. If you're looking at it straight on, it's okay, but it is a little difficult in high light conditions and if you're looking at it at an obscure angle. So it's not a bad LCD screen, but it isn't the best, but it is a relatively cheap cooler, around £55 here in the UK. In terms of accessories included with the AK700 Digital, you get a user manual and information and support guide there, warranty information, etc. You also get a bag of accessories included. So there's all the mounting hardware for Intel and AMD systems. There's an Intel backplate there. You don't need a backplate for AMD, it uses the stock backplate. In here you've got brackets for Intel installation, brackets and standoffs for AMD installation in there. There's the top mounting screws, so thumb screws to actually mount the cooler down. You also get a screwdriver there. Don't really like these angled screwdrivers. I prefer a proper screwdriver to come with it. You do need a kind of an extra long reach screwdriver to reach down to tighten the screws up. I don't really like those. And it also comes, as I say, with a tube of thermal compound. You do have to apply this yourself during installation. Next up is the CPS PCCooler RZ700D. It's a similar design to the DeepCool AK700, but it includes two fans instead of one. The heatsink is a similar size and shape. You can see it's a very nice, clean and compact looking unit. It comes with a 120mm fan on the front and a 120mm reverse fan on the rear, so it pulls air through and out the back of the system. This is expected to be available for UK buyers on Amazon UK in February 2026, priced at £59.99, so similar price to the DeepCool, but it comes with two fans, so maybe slightly better value for money. It features 7 6mm heat pipes and a 60mm thick fin stack for enhanced heat dissipation. It uses a standard blade fan and a mirrored reverse blade fan to reduce high frequency noise and resonance, delivering up to 79.8 cubic feet per minute airflow and up to 4.4mm H2O static pressure. In terms of how the fans attach to this cooler, the design is a little more sophisticated, I'd say, than the DeepCool AK700 with those awful spring clips that I don't really like. To remove them, it's a straightforward process really. The top cover needs to come off. This is just a plastic top cover. It attaches to the top of the cooler via some magnets. The fans are also really easy to remove. They just clip in place too. There's some screws on the fans on each corner and they just clip into these plastic locators here, and it's same for the rear fan. That just clips in place too. Really easy to remove these fans. The only thing with this design is there's no vertical adjustment of the fan, so if you run into any issues with ram clearance, you're stuck with the position of the fans as they come mounted to the cooler from the factory. So as I say, there's two fans included. One is a regular blade fan that attaches to the front of the cooler. The other one is a reverse blade fan with a speed range of 500 to 2400 RPM for the forward blade and 500 to 2250 RPM for the reverse blade. You have a maximum airflow of 79.8 cubic feet per minute, maximum air pressure of 4.4mm H2O, and these use a ball bearing setup. The actual heatsink, it's a very similar size and shape to the DeepCool AK700 with overall dimensions with the fans attached of 122 by 111 by 159.5mm. Also, like the AK700, it's a dense fin stack. The base plate is also a nickel plated copper base plate, again like the DeepCool AK700, and it has 7 6mm copper heat pipes mounted to the base. Again, the mounting bracket is attached also to the base. There's no LCD display or other fancy features of this. It is quite a basic cooler. No RGB lighting, nothing really other than the fans and the heatsink, so you could say less to go wrong. It comes with just regular 120mm fans. These screws can be screwed into a regular fan, so if you want, you can swap these out for some fans of your choosing, or if in the future one of these fans stops working, you can just replace it with any 120mm fan. So it's quite a basic CPU cooler, but sometimes you just need basic. You don't need all the fancy bells and whistles. Accessories included with the RZ700D come in this little cardboard box. So in here you've got a installation manual. There's a splitter cable for the two fans. They are standard 4-pin PWM fans, so they connect to the standard 4-pin PWM splitter. into a standard 4-pin PCCooler motherboard header. You also get an Intel backplate for Intel installation, Intel upper mounting brackets, AMD upper mounting brackets. You get the 4 standoffs for AMD installation. There's also 4 upper mounting bracket thumb screws, and then a tube of thermal compound. And again, it doesn't come with any thermal compound pre-applied. You have to apply this yourself during installation. Then the third cooler we're looking at today is the Sudokoo SK620V. It is available in 2 different colours. You can get it in black or white colour schemes, and you can pick this up now in the UK from Amazon, priced at £86.99 in black or white, and there's also a non-LCD version priced at around £70, also available on Amazon UK. SK620V uses a dense dual tower heatsink with 6 heat pipes, purpose-built for AM5 CPUs. A quad-segmented display on the top shows real-time CPU temperature, usage, wattage and frequency controlled through Sudokoo's Mastercraft software. It's equipped with dual 120mm fans with advanced 3-phase FOC motor control to provide strong airflow while keeping noise low, and adjustable glide fan mounting improves RAM clearance. So this cooler, like the previous Sudokoo air cooler I reviewed, is specifically designed to be installed on AMD AM5 platforms. The mounting hardware that comes in the box with the cooler is just for AM5, but there is an additional mounting bracket kit that you can buy separately that supports Intel and also AMD AM4 installation. This will set you back around £5.50 on Amazon UK. So this is probably the most advanced out of these 3 coolers. It has the most sophisticated features. It's a dual tower heatsink with 220mm fans and 6 heat pipes mounted onto a copper base. The base plate comes with a protective label on it, but as you can see under that, it's a nickel plated copper base, and the 6 heat pipes run through that copper base. Again, there's a mounting bracket also connected to that copper base. Very interesting how the fans fit to this. It's a much more advanced system than the AK700 or the RZ700D. To get to the fans or to get to the screws to mount the cooler, you need to remove the top panel first. Quite easy, you just pull it out and it slides on this rail system. So there's 2 rails on the fans there, and they slide down into some plastic guides attached to the heat sinks. They come out quite easy. It's a little tight to begin with to get it out, but it slides out nicely. And you can also see there's no wires to this fan. It runs on these pogo pin connections here that attach or make contact to the top of the heatsink there, and then it runs down through the heatsink, and there's a cable for attaching the fans to your motherboard, and it's again a standard 4-pin PWM header. You need to remove this fan for installation, and you also need to remove the front fan. Again, this is on a rail system, slides out really nice and easy. It's another 120mm fan. It's on the same kind of rails as the central fan that run down these plastic guides here. I really like this feature. We saw this in the SK700V. It also allows this front fan a bit of adjustment in height. So if you're struggling with RAM clearance, it slides in and you can have that mounted slightly higher if needed to clear any RAM. So it's very easy to adjust and remove that fan. It's quite a simple design, but it works really well. Also, on top of this top panel from the middle fan is the LCD display. In this central panel here, there's also a Sudokoo logo on top of there. It all looks and feels really high quality, this. The sliding mechanism, the feel of the plastics, the LCD screen looks good and displays just the right amount of information, I think, for CPU temperature, frequency, etc. I don't think you really need much more than that on a CPU air cooler display. There's no real customization in terms of adding your own images or videos to that. It is literally there just for a bit of system information, real-time CPU system information. To give it a bit of style, Sudokoo's added these plastic covers on the sides there. Whether you like that or not, it does give it a unique appearance and covers up what can sometimes look a little untidy on the side of the heatsink. It is a dual tower heatsink, so it's quite a bit larger when it's installed with the fans on than the RZ700D or the AK700. Overall dimensions with the fans installed is 145 by 144 by 164 millimeters tall, so a lot bigger than these other two, but it does have less heat pipes. There's only 6 heat pipes on this, whereas these two have 7 heat pipes. The fans are both 120mm fans, and they're both regular 25mm thickness. However, you can see this one is a proprietary fan without any connections. The only issue I have with that is if there's any problem with this fan in future, it's going to be difficult to replace it. You will have to reach out to Sudokoo for a replacement. You can't just replace that one with a regular 120mm fan. Potentially you could replace this front fan with a regular 120mm fan. That one will be a little more difficult. The fans have a PWM speed range up to 2000 RPM, maximum airflow of 56.46 cubic feet per minute, and maximum air pressure of 2.93 millimeters H2O. Both use standard 4-pin PWM connections, so can be connected directly to 4-pin PWM motherboard headers. No need for any special fan hubs or control hubs or software. The speed can just be controlled by motherboard software, and they're also equipped with a fluid dynamic bearing. Included accessories come inside this cardboard box. You've got a couple of manuals like the DeepCool one, so there's an installation guide and a warranty information there. This is the bracket for AM5 installation. As I say, it is designed predominantly for AMD AM5, so it only comes with the AM5 mounting hardware included in the box. To install this, you have to remove the AM5 upper mounting bracket, and you also have to remove the complete AM5 stock ILM, and this replaces that. There's also the screws for the mounting bracket included. PWM splitter cable, so you can connect both fans to this and then connect this to a single motherboard header. A couple of screwdrivers, so these have got Torx heads, a Phillips head on there, and this one's Torx for tightening up the mounting screws for the AM5 bracket. You also get a what they call a grease cleaner there for cleaning, and a spreading tool for the thermal compound, and you get a tube of thermal compound. Again, you have to apply the thermal compound to the CPU itself. There's none pre-applied to the cooler. In terms of the installation of these coolers, both the RZ700D and the AK700, very similar installation process, really quick to install both of these coolers. It is simply just a case of removing the stock upper mounting brackets from an AM5 motherboard, installing some standoffs, upper mounting brackets, and then these coolers screw directly to the upper mounting brackets on these 2 points. And as you can see, very similar on both of these coolers. It's just a simple case of connecting fans up to the PWM header. In the case of the DeepCool cooler, you do have to connect up a USB 2 header for the LCD screen. It connects directly to a USB 2 header on the motherboard. The Sudokoo is also a quick and simple installation, very much like these two, but you do have to replace the upper mounting brackets on the motherboard and the complete CPU ILM, so the complete CPU latch. It's really easy to install. After that, just remove the fans and screw the cooler down using these 2 mounting points. And again, everything connects up to standard PWM headers, and like the DeepCool cooler, you do need to connect this up to a USB 2 motherboard header also for control of the LCD screen. One thing to mention about these two with the LCD screens is both of them require the software to be installed for the LCD screens to operate. The LCDs will not even light up at all without software installed. So there's a quick rundown of the basic specifications and features of these coolers. If you want to read a little more on these coolers, there will be a written page over at kitguru.net. You can also check out the full testing methodology over at kitguru.net. So now you know a little more about these coolers. Let's take a look at the thermal performance. Looking at noise output first, the differences between these 3 coolers are instantly apparent. The Sudokoo SK620V proves to be the most restrained at 43 decibels max, making it audible under load but still well behaved and unlikely to draw attention in a closed chassis. DeepCool's AK700 Digital pushes things a little further at 45 decibels, where fan noise will become more noticeable during sustained workloads, though it remains within what most users would consider acceptable for a high performance air cooler. By contrast, the CPS PCCooler RZ700D stands apart for the wrong reasons, registering a much higher 53 decibels and entering in territory that's hard to ignore even at a reasonable distance. In practical terms, that makes it the least refined of the three acoustically, and something buyers will want to factor in if low noise is a priority. With the fans running at full speed, the thermal results are quite tightly spread, especially between the two single tower 7 heat pipe coolers. The Sudokoo SK620V leads the group at 59 degrees C over ambient, delivering the strongest raw cooling performance when allowed to run at 100% PWM thanks to its dual tower design. The CPS PCCooler RZ700D follows at 61 degrees C, placing it solidly in the middle of the pack and indicating competent thermal performance. DeepCool's AK700 Digital White comes in just behind at 62 degrees C. While still respectable for a large single fan air cooler, it trails the other two under identical test conditions. With noise taken into account, the Sudokoo combines the best thermals here with comparatively restrained acoustics, while the PCCooler's middling thermal result does little to justify its significantly higher noise output, and the AK700 ultimately lands in a safe middle ground. Looking at the thermal performance with the fans noise normalized to 40 decibels, the Sudokoo SK620V holds its own at 61 degrees C over ambient, showing that it is capable of strong cooling even when acoustics are limited, which makes it the most efficient of the three. The PCCooler RZ700D now slips to 66 degrees C over ambient, showing a significant thermal hit when the fans are throttled to maintain acceptable noise levels. The DeepCool AK700 Digital White lands in the middle at 64 degrees C, keeping its temperatures under control but without matching the quiet efficiency of the Sudokoo. In practical terms, this comparison highlights how much more balanced the Sudokoo is in a typical user environment. However, its larger dual tower heatsink helps contribute to this. AMD PBO workloads push CPUs to sustained maximum all-core boost. The differences between these three coolers become more apparent. In AMD PBO workloads, the Sudokoo SK620V delivers a delta of 60 degrees C while maintaining an average CPU multiplier of 51.5 times, showing that its larger dual tower heatsink allows it to move heat more efficiently and keep clock speeds high even under extreme multi-core loads. The DeepCool AK700 Digital White follows closely at 61 degrees C with a 51.4 times multiplier, performing respectably but with slightly higher temperatures, likely due to the smaller single tower design. The CPS PCCooler RZ700D posts 64 degrees C with a 51.2 times multiplier, illustrating that while it can handle the load, its single tower layout combined with higher acoustic demands limits efficiency under full automated boost conditions. This chart reinforces how heatsink size and tower design play a major role in real-world performance. The SK620 dual tower layout clearly gives it an advantage in thermal headroom and consistent PBO performance, whereas the other two single tower coolers trade some efficiency for a smaller footprint. So essentially, I quite like all of these coolers in their own way. The DeepCool, it has quick installation, it's an interesting implementation of that LCD screen behind the wood, and it's got decent thermal performance for its size. Removing the screen can be a little awkward. You've got to be careful of removing the screen while the fan's installed. You can potentially damage the wiring if you try and do that. And also the LCD screen, although it is quite cool how it's implemented, it can be a little difficult to see in high light conditions and at certain angles. The CPS PCCooler RZ700D is quite basic, but it is probably the most cost-effective out of the three because it comes with the 220mm fans, unlike the DeepCool that only comes with a single fan. It is quite basic. I do like that though, because it means that potentially it's going to be reliable. Again, it's easy to install. I like the clip-on fans. They're much easier to remove and clip back than the DeepCool with those wire clips that I really don't like. The only thing with this one, at maximum fan speed, it is quite loud, and also, at low speed, the fans make a bit of a strange resonating noise. So if acoustics is the most important factor, this is probably one to avoid. My favourite out of the three is the Sudokoo SK620V. If you've seen a DeepCool AK620, this is a very similar design. I believe it uses a very similar or the same heatsink, but the fan design or the implementation of how they are attached to the cooler is much better than the DeepCool AK620. I like those sliding fan rails, that middle fan with the pogo pin connectivity. It's a really nice feature. Installation, even though you have to remove the upper mounting brackets and the CPU latching mechanism, it still is quite a quick installation, and the build quality of this is excellent. The plastics feel high quality, the coating's good, the fans are nice and quiet when they're running too. So overall, this is my favourite. There are some minor negatives to it. The LCD screen, if you like something that is really customizable, it's not got those customizations. It is quite basic, but it is a nice, bright, clear, easy to read LCD screens, and for me, the information you get on that, the CPU temperature, etc., is all you need. It is a little expensive for a mid-range dual tower at nearly £90 in the UK, but build quality is really good. The only other negative for me is that you have to have software installed for the LCD to work. So all these coolers have their good points. I'm sure they will appeal individually to people, but for me, the Sudokoo SK620V is the best out of the bunch. Let me know what you think of these three coolers in the YouTube comment section. If you've enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to Kit Guru if you're not already a subscriber. If you like what we do here at Kit Guru and you want to help support us, you can always head over to the store and pick up some merch, or you could subscribe to our Patreon. We're also on TikTok, and if you want to catch up on all the in-depth technical reviews, head over to our website.